Welcome back to Book Break. I have got 7 really different books to recommend to you today. The one thing that they all have in common is they have all been really massively hyped up and they all really live up to that hype. First up, The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. There has just been so much hype about this whole series, The Atlas 6 and The Atlas Paradox, but particularly this one because for those of you who were fans all the way back from when The Atlas 6 was first self-published, this is really long awaited. There was so much build up with proofs and special proofs being splashed all over social media. The book is finally out, the reviews are coming in, and we are seeing 5 stars across the board. Honestly, if you are a big fan of dark academia, of really impressive world building, of morally grey characters with complex relationships entwining them all together, this one lives up to every bit of the hype. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi and the rest of this whole series is fast becoming a social media sensation. And I would like to think that Book Break has played a huge part in hyping this one up. I was obsessed with this series from the start. I have seen so many videos people have posted of them sobbing to this book. It's just fantastic. And for me, it just really does live up to that hype. Yes, this series is really emotional, but it's in such a moving and pure way. It's really nostalgic. It's totally unique. The time travel concept in this series is unlike anything I've read before, and I've read a lot of time travel books. The characters really just find their way into your heart and stay there. And talking of books that have people crying on the internet, of course, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara is a book that has been so massively hyped up as the book that will make you cry. I even filmed my own reading vlog of this one, determined to buck the trend. I was not going to cry on camera. I failed. Again, this book is so worth the hype, and it's so much more than just being a tearjerker. It will reduce you to tears unless your heart is made of stone. But again, the magic of this book is how deeply you fall in love with the characters and you follow them for such a long time throughout their lives and really care about every single one of them so deeply. We have a main character, Jude, who is this character with a lot of trauma from his past, and it's his story that tends to reduce people to sobbing messes, but he is just one of a group of 4 best friends, and we follow each of these characters and the different paths their lives take them on. And as well as there being a lot of sadness and trauma in this book, there is also a lot of love, and I think that's what makes this book just kind of stand on its own as such an incredible masterpiece. There has been hype about White Noise by DeLillo since 1985 when this book came out and won the US National Book Award for fiction. And later this year there is a movie adaptation coming out on Netflix with Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig and Don Cheadle, and the movie got really good reviews at the Venice Film Festival from anyone who could tear their eyes away from the Don't Worry Darling drama, so the hype around this one is only going to grow. The book is a comic social commentary. It's about a man with a good life, a good job, living in the suburbs with his lovely blended family, but after he is exposed to an airborne toxic event, he starts to rethink his life and look at some of the darker things under the surface that he had been willfully ignoring. It's very strange and funny and thought-provoking, and actually a lot of its themes of fake news and misinformation and commercialism feel possibly even more relevant now than they did in 1985 when the book first came out. Confessions of a 40-something F-Up by Alexandra Potter has been slowly building up a lot of hype since it first came out a few years ago. Readers are just falling in love with this book. So if you've seen a lot of people talking about it online or in your book groups, it really is worth the hype. The book is about a woman in her 40s whose life has just not turned out the way she thought it was going to. Something which is very relatable to a lot of us at any age, really. And in fact, she forms this cross-generational friendship with a woman called Cricket, a widow in her 80s. And the two of them help each other heal from their grief, this grief of not having the life that you hoped you were going to have. But they also help each other realize how to find so much joy in the life that they do have. It's very, very funny, it's heartwarming and moving, and the audiobook is narrated by Sally Phillips, which is a real treat. There has been huge hype around The Four Winds by Kristin and it really deserves it. This is a moving, fascinating historical novel set in a part of history that I didn't really know anything about, the time of the Dust Bowl. The book starts in the 1920s in a small Texas town and follows our main character Elsa as she builds a family and starts a life working incredibly hard on a farm. But the drought and dust of the 1930s make life pretty much impossible, and eventually her husband gives up and runs away, leaving Elsa and her children to battle dust storms, dying crops and dying livestock, and spreading illnesses due to the terrible conditions. The book is about Elsa's fight to survive and to protect her family and the really difficult choices that she has to make along the way. It's really about her incredible strength, and that's what's captivated readers so much with this book, for very good reason. And finally, Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. The hype about this one has been partly about this gorgeous cover. It's actually so rare that we get to see two men kissing on the front cover of a book, and this photograph is just gorgeous. But of course, the hype has also been about the book itself, the second book from Booker winner Douglas Stewart, and honestly this book is every bit as amazing as his first book, Shaggy Vane, was. Young Mungo is about two boys, James and Mungo, one Protestant, one Catholic, who fall in love, living in a violent world where their love isn't safe. The book has been described as Dickensian, which is a lot of hype to put in a book, but this book actually pulls off the rare feat of living up to that. Do subscribe to Book Break for more reading recommendations like this every week. I will link to a playlist here for a bunch of our other book recommendations, so do click through and have a browse and make sure you subscribe for new videos every week. And I'll see you next time!